The good folks at CBCS recently reached out to me and asked if I would be willing to take a look at their new slab. And it isn't just any old slab. This is their brand new magazine slab, a slab that has not yet been rolled out to the public as of today. And in this video, we are going to take a look at this new case, both the pros and the cons. Stay tuned. Reggie here, and I want to welcome you to another one of my videos. I consider myself fortunate because I've had an opportunity over the last several years to take a look at new products that are being introduced to the comic book market. And I can tell you for a fact that this new case from CBCS is something special. For the last few years, CBCS has actually been doing raw grading of magazines, and they are now stepping their game up to introduce a brand new case, a case that has been in development for more than a year. And I don't know when this new case is going to be rolled out, but they tell me it will happen sometime soon. So you'll definitely have to keep your eyes open for an announcement via email or on their website. With that said, as I mentioned, this slab is something special. From the moment that my hands touched it, I knew that this was something different. And I say that for two reasons. One, because of the size. This thing is large. It is larger than any other magazine slab that I've held. It is also heavier. This thing measures 14 inches roughly by 9.5 inches, and it tips the scales at 1 pound 14 ounces even. Now, mind you, there is a magazine on the inside, so some of that weight comes from the product that's actually inside, but I feel like even if this thing were empty, it would still be on the heavier side. This thing is substantive. There is no doubt about it. I've had the opportunity to hold a lot of magazine slabs in the past, and they always feel flimsy and delicate. There always seems to be some give and some flex. That is not the case with this. That is not the case in any way, shape, or form. This thing is heavy. It feels good in the hand. There is no give, there is no flex, there is no bend. It is rigid and in a really good way. If you have had an opportunity to experience the new case from CBCS for comics, this case makes for a nice counterpart to that. It is basically an exact replica of the regular size slab, just bigger and maybe even a little just girthier, if you will. When you look at their regular case and you compare it to this, it is noticeable in terms of the size difference between the two, which makes perfect sense. This new magazine case has several different types of inner wales that will be used to accommodate different sizes of magazines that people may have. But even your largest magazine should be able to fit in here without a doubt. And some other details I'm certain will be provided by CBCS as to the range from the smallest to the biggest magazine that can be accommodated by this. But again, just a wonderful product. When you feel it in your hands, I've already talked about the fact that it's substantive, but it's also, the finish is also there. There's wonderful curves to this thing. It is smooth. There are no rough edges, and I'm going to give a caveat here in a moment to that. But it's everything that you would expect in terms of a refined product, right? There is no doubt about that. Now, there are some cons to it. There are two things that I want to make note of. One of them is that there is an edge on the front here that I think serves to lock another slab in place. That feels a little rigid and a little sharp to the hand. in a different way than what you experience on the regular slab. The regular slab, it is there, that lip is there, but it's not as sharp. And I don't think that there's anything negative with that, but it is something that is noticeable, especially when the feel and the finish generally is smooth and curved. That is a rigid edge. So that's one thing that jumps out at me. The other thing that I would say is that while this case is clear, it does not appear to be as clear as their regular slab. And that's not a ding, it's just something that I noticed. Still an incredibly clear case, to be honest with you. Maybe what I'm seeing here is actually the magazine inside of it. Maybe its cover isn't as glossy as you would imagine. So that's why I give that one the clarity with a little bit of grain of salt, because it may just be the comic on the inside that I'm looking at, but I had to make mention of it. But again, if those are the only two things that I could say negative about this, I think that we are headed down a very good path. Now, I do want to compare this a little bit to the CGC case, specifically for magazines. Now, I will tell you, I do not have CGC's new magazine case. They have a new one. I have not yet experienced that, but I have their old one here. And I can tell you by far the CBCS case is larger, it is thicker, it is taller, and it is definitely more sturdy than the old CGC magazine slab. It is noticeably different, and it is honestly just a great product. If you decide to encapsulate magazines, this is not a bad way to go. And as I mentioned at the beginning of the video, I don't have any details on when this new slab is going to be rolled out. Sometime soon, I'm being told. Unfortunately, I also do not know the pricing for it, but I'm confident that CBCS will be making a lot of noise when this new case is available. And I would encourage you to pay close attention and to seriously consider sending your books in, because the new case, it's fantastic. As always, I want to thank you all for taking the time to watch the video. If you haven't yet subscribed to the channel, I want to encourage you to do so, because you won't regret it. There's some good content that I release here on the channel every single week. And as always, if you need to reach out to me for whatever reason, you can do so on Instagram at Regie Collects. Take care.
This thing on? Mic check. I just want to make sure y'all can hear me clearly. Yeah. Should you practice art, or should art be your practice? I had a question, so I asked it. Not to anyone specifically, but to my inner God, you know? The one that's gonna be a master, the one that's more than a rapper, the one that's an educator, the one that seeks enlightenment. He travels with concepts, he's got the mindset expansive. He understands that his time combined with travel and concepts makes his mind convex. Sort of like when you look at a brain scan, straight off meditation, we was concaving until we had that eternal dialogue that created our dialect. Now we in distinct rooms of pure souls having them conversations, synergy and combinations. You fly and we waiting, Indian style in the gold.